Joining us right now for more on the recession risks and the Fed fears, former St. Louis Fed President James Bullard. He's now dean of the Mitch Daniels School of Business at Purdue University. And before we even do those numbers, let me just ask you your reaction to the tariffs thus far and what you think they portend.
Yeah, thanks. So I think the main thing is that this has dramatically raised the risk of a Smoot-Hawley type outcome. So Smoot-Hawley was 1930. Other countries retaliated, global trade collapsed, and the Great Depression was on. So I think that's really what has people worried about this. It doesn't have to work out that way, but this unilateral move, abrupt, is setting up a situation where you could get a dramatic downturn in the economy. So Wall Street is marking up its recession probabilities, and I think that's appropriate. So I think some things we could talk about here, though, are what's the game theory between the three blocks here, EU, U.S., China? How would that game theory play out? I think that's something Wall Street should be talking about. And what's the chance that this will stick through the courts? Because I think this is probably executive overreach compared to what Congress. You can do things like this if you want, but you probably have to have Congress weigh in on that.
Dean, before we even get farther than that, let me just ask you about the prospects of contagion. So as these markets continue to fall, if they do continue to fall, is there a breaking point? Forget about what you think that portends for the economy in the future, but for the economy right now, do you look at private credit? Do you look at the banking system? Do you look at any other part of our economy that you think could be impacted by what we're seeing in the markets today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the effects are immediate because it affects expectations about investment globally. And we've talked about it before on this show. I mean, who wants to invest when you don't know what the rules are going to be? And so major projects are all going to be delayed all around the world until you get some clarity on how this is going to play out. That affects output today in the U.S. and around the world, and so yeah, it's a very dramatic impact.
Hey, Jim, the president putting on Truth Social today a statement that he thinks the Fed should be cutting rates right now. Markets are baking in at this point 5 rate cuts from the Fed this year. Do you think the Fed should cut rates?
Yeah, I think Chair Powell got the right balance. He wants to make sure that any price disruption doesn't feed through to inflation expectations, and then you'd have an inflation problem on your hands. There's no reason really for the Fed to do anything right now. The hard data right now is satisfactory, and so we'll see how this plays out going forward. So, and you've got, as you guys have been talking about, the negotiation angle, so other countries could react possibly relatively quickly within a few months, and you'd get more clarity on the outcome here.
But your advice is no cuts for the next several months.
Yeah, I don't think I would react. So the problem is if you react right now and then this gets resolved, what do? You put rates back up? So I just don't, and I don't think this is really about 25 basis points on the Fed funds rate. This is about the global trading arrangements. So it's not really, monetary policy is not really the focus here. Also, rates are down. Rates are down anyway. 10 years down below 5%. So you've got some natural cushion coming from other sources.
A weaker dollar can be something that people actually like sometimes, Jim. But if it starts being disorderly, it can just feed on itself and be a total disaster. Are we anywhere near that yet?
I don't think so, not based on what's happened so far. I think you've still got this flight to safety going on in global markets, still the reserve currency. And so in that sense, I think the dollar's okay. Usually when a currency really gets into trouble is if global markets think the country is sort of mismanaged, I would say. I don't think we're in that boat. This is a policy that is trying to gain retribution for years of other types of trade policy. But I think right now, I think the dollar's okay.
And what's your favorite canary in the coal mine for the economy itself? And we already saw some junk bonds, premium spike, worrying about recession risk. Is there anything else you'd be paying attention? Because the economy on Friday, I mean, looking back a month, the jobs picture was better than people thought. I mean, we're not dead yet.
Yeah, that's right. And I do think that the initial conditions coming into 2025 have been very good. And so in that sense, you're starting from a good position as opposed to starting from a weak position. So that part is good. And some of these other developments, like the lower 10-year and other things, do cushion things a little bit. But there's no doubt about it. This is a very extreme move by the United States, and it does threaten the Smoot-Hawley outcome, and that's what markets are pricing in.
Dean, I just want to go back to the idea of there's the Smoot-Hawley issue, which could last a very long time. One of the things that happened back then was the Fed also sat on its hands, as you remember. So maybe things are different this time around. I'm questioning or concerned about the immediacy of what's happening now, which is just the plumbing of the financial system. Do you have any concern about that at all in terms of what we're looking at straight ahead of us?
Well, if you got into a serious downturn, which we're not in yet, this is all in expectations here, but if you did get into a serious downturn, you would have to worry about financial stability elements and where that was going to go. Not surprised credit spreads moving up. You'd want to demand more protection for lending to less credit-worthy firms. So all of that's happening. All of that I would regard as kind of a natural dynamic when the outlook is very cloudy. But none of that is the core problem here. The core problem is you're trying to change trade policy very abruptly and globally. And it's very unclear how this is going to play out.